Would you like to know more? Service guarantees citizenship. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Real Impact on the Action Podcast. It has been a while, hasn't it? It's certainly been a couple of months, hasn't it? Because I have been busy doing moving stuff. But anyway, I'm back now, and this evening I am joined by a couple of fantastic guests, both actually show regulars at this point. I am joined this evening, firstly, by, and I will go ladies first, by our cat, only VadersGirl. How are you, Cat? How's things? How are you keeping?
I'm doing pretty good. I got to go to the movies last night, see Mando, so I'm in a good mood.
Excellent. Yeah, no, me and Rob today, I'm spoiling his piece now, but we went and saw Mando today. So, sorry guys, it's not going to be a Mando discussion tonight, but it is what it is. But yes, I'm now going to hand down to Rob. So there's a lot to discuss tonight. So we got to go at this because there's a lot of meat on the bone of this one. Rob Hopper, how are you, sir?
All good. Yeah, no, I'm full of Mandos and Nandos, as I was calling it earlier on today. We went for a nice chicken. And then we went on and saw some Mandalorian. Yeah. So yeah,
it was good Nando's, and Mando was good. And I was going to say general hello to everyone in the chat rather than reading all your names. I will address any comments throughout the show, but we read every comment. We appreciate you. So thank you those who have joined us this evening. There's only one comment I'm going to bring up, so we will get a hello in it. It's from Des T. He says, "No spoilers, please. I'm going tomorrow." We're not going to spoil a damn thing about Mando. In fact, Mando is now off the table. There is no Mando and Grogu talk going forward. So here we are.
We spoke Mando before we came live. So
exactly.
No more.
No more. It's a huge film at the moment. Obviously, Star Wars. So yeah, again, hello to everyone who's joined us in the chat. As I say, we will get to your comments throughout the show and read any comments relevant to the thing. Right, first of all, Starship Troopers. I am going to tell you when I first saw it, and then I'm sort of going to a little bit go around the table. I would have seen this film when I was about 13. I would have watched it on rental. In fact, I know I watched it on rental because my mate's dad rented it for us. I had no idea what it was going to be. I can tell you now that this is a very multi-layered film, and I saw none of that when I was 13 years old. I think there will be many a teenage boy who didn't. So yeah, that's when I first saw it. Again, I'm going to go ladies first, pointing the right way. Kat, when did you first see this movie, mate?
Okay, so I don't remember if I was 12 or 13 when I saw it. I know it was a year later, at least. I mean, obviously, if I was 12, but I know we watched it on TNT, which I don't know if that's even a channel anymore, but it came on and we had been hearing about it. And I remember it was a big thing that we had a bunch of people over to watch it, and kind of blew our minds at the time. Loved it.
Yeah, did your parents watch it with you, or did you just watch it the kids?
No, we had a thing that we would watch Mystery Science 3000 or whatever on Saturday nights. So we were just like, yeah, we're doing our normal movie night thing, and then we just didn't tell them we changed it to another movie on TNT. So that's all. So
yeah, I think it's one of those films that would have upset many a parent if they knew that their teenagers were watching it. Yeah. Rob, when did you first see Starship Troopers? You're a touch older than us. I don't say that to be rude, but
no. I am. So this came out November '97. It would have been released on video about 6 months later, so middle of '98. I don't remember the first time I saw this. It could have even potentially when it came onto satellite, when it came onto Sky. More than likely. I do remember watching it, but it was around the time, if I remember correctly, Event Horizon came out. And I remember preferring, at the time, preferring that because it was just, Event Horizon, So yeah, that's the sort of abiding memory from seeing that. I remember seeing it on telly. I definitely didn't see it at the cinema. I was old enough, but I definitely didn't see it at the cinema. So yeah, And then it was one of those things that I was aware that they were releasing sequels to it, but I didn't catch up with them. So yeah, I don't recall seeing it for the first time, but I do recall seeing it. It would have been around somebody's house after the pub or something like that, likely. So
You know, I just learned today that there's a third one. I knew there was a second one, didn't know there was a third one until I looked it up about the second one. So there you go.
There's
no
certainly
idea.
there's two sort of direct to video sequels that we will discuss later, and there's been a couple of sort of anime ones or CGI films. I don't think any of them have been received particularly well. I would assume that those joining us in the chat have indeed seen this film, or in fact enjoy this film because they're watching the show. But in case anyone hasn't, spoiler alert, I am going to give just a quick plot summary I've got here, just to sum it up. Then I'm going to go in a couple of questions. We're going to get into the discussion and see where we go with it, because I know for a fact that there's very differing views on this panel tonight of what people think about this film. So it's going to be interesting. So, plot summary. In the future, humanity is locked in a brutal war with a deadly alien species known as the arachnids, or the bugs. Young soldier Johnny Rico joins the Mobile Infantry alongside his friends as propaganda, patriotism, and escalating violence drive humanity deeper into conflict. What begins as a flashy sci-fi action film slowly reveals itself as a dark satire of materialism, fascism, and war and culture. Does that sum it up, guys? Which that's pretty much there.
Yeah, you did good.
Apart from my reading skills, which are absolutely terrible. I'll just jump to someone else we said. So Travels More with Jason has joined us, and he says there was also a TV series for it as well. Yes, there was Jason.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the franchise has expanded. So I'm going to go with me first on this, just because my question's going to. The question would be, I'll put this question to you guys. I'll answer quickly and I'll come back. I've done this sort of badly. Bad me. I'm a little bit out of practice. It's been a few months.
Okay. Okay.
So the question's going to be, did you immediately recognize the satire and the layers to it when you first saw it? I can quickly say, no, I didn't. All I saw was boobs, guns, bugs, and explosions. So I'm now going to come to Rob. Rob, you were a bit older than us at the time when you saw it. Did you spot it?
Yeah. I'm fairly sure. I just saw it as another war film at the time. I wasn't really into films back then as much as I am now, as in sort of looking at the context and the content within it. But yeah, I saw it as, like you say, I remember it being the same director as RoboCop and seeing what the content was about, and I was like, well, it's going to be a similar sort of vein, but just a war film instead of RoboCop. So I took it at face value, like you say. We'll talk about what I think overall in a bit, but yeah, I didn't pick up on the hidden context until I watched it a couple of weeks ago when you said about coming on here and doing this, and it's in your face. The context that they're trying to push out is massively in your face. I picked up on, and I'm surprised it wasn't reported more at the time, from what I can see. But yeah,
we will get into that. I think we'll expand on this in just a bit, very quickly, but I think it depends on where you lived in the world as to what was reported on it.
Yeah.
From the mouth of Paul Verhoeven, I watched a few panels this week. Well, when they get the cast back together. So, Kat, yourself, what did you pick up on when you first watched this movie?
I don't think I'm alone in this, because I think we watch stuff as we're kids and we're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, all this. And then as adults, or even just a few years older, we go back and we miss a ton of stuff. So all of that went over our heads. We saw, like you said, action, we saw love, we saw jokes, that kind of stuff. We just thought it was a really great killing bug movie. There was anything behind it. I mean, I did make a comment. I do remember making a comment to my brother and my cousin about how Carl was dressed at the end of the movie. And I know we'll get into that a little bit more, but that was like the only thing that I picked up on at the time when I first saw it.
Well, yeah, we absolutely will. Now, so I'm going to bring up a couple of the film posters for us to just take a quick look at here. And when you look at this, all I would have seen when I walked into the video shop. Now, the one on the left is the most famous one. That's the one that was on all the then VHS covers, now DVD or whatever format of disc we're on. I lose bloody track of what we're on these days. And all you see there is Starship Troopers, obviously, and people with guns and explosions. Nothing about that, to me, would have suggested as a teenage boy that this was going to be anything more than a blow them up, go out there and
right.
I'll tell you what that says to me. Looking at that it is those pictures there. That says to me it's like Aliens. That you know they've on the right one, on the one on the right, they've said, you know, from the director of RoboCop and Total Recall. So that's leading you down the path of, well, it's Aliens, isn't it? You know,
I see that.
It isn't Aliens at all, you know. So that's what they want you to believe, and like you say, what you see in the posters is not what you get in the film. I would say, well, you get that in the film, but you don't get that in the. There's more to it than that.
Now for me, I'm a bit more well versed in film as I've got older, and I would have only seen I saw RoboCop quite young, because my parents really didn't give a damn what I watched as a kid. That's why I watched so many films young. I don't ever recall reading from the director of RoboCop, and the director of this movie is Paul Verhoeven. I think we've already said that, but in case we hadn't, it's Paul Verhoeven, known for RoboCop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct, Hollow Man, I believe. I mean, he's got quite the back catalogue of films that we will all know. But I now, as an adult, I can watch Starship Troopers, and I can very much see, just from stylistically, I can totally tell that this is from the guy that did RoboCop. If that makes sense, would you agree with that, guys? Yeah. What's your thoughts on it?
With the way RoboCop satirizes violence and the way this satirizes the whole war system, you can see that. Bearing in mind, you've got an American film being directed by a guy who's Dutch, I think it is, and it's based around Argentina. So that takes the American action side of things, but puts it in a satirical way that the Americans wouldn't. No offense to obviously Americans, but I wouldn't. I think a lot of Americans would take it at face value, regardless of age. They would say, "Yeah, America, we fight the war on bugs." And
it's interesting you say that, because I've been to America once for a couple of weeks 15 years ago, but Rob, you have a strong connection to America, family out there, you're a regular visitor. Kat, you live in America.
You are American.
You grew up in America. You are American.
Sorry, guys.
Nothing to apologize. What are you apologizing for? So again, we're going to come into this very shortly. The perception, from what I've read, from what I've seen, the perception of how people took this in Europe versus how people took this in America is very, very different. So I'll just as well go there now rather than saying we'll come back to it, as I'll bloody forget it. Paul Verhoeven said himself, he said that basically this film suffered in America because people were taking it seriously. Satire. We're on YouTube. I have to go very careful what I say on YouTube. Certain words, certain dictators and that. But there was a guy in World War II who was really freaking nasty. And he caused a lot of problems in the world. We all know who I'm referring to.
Mr. H.
The man with the tash.
The guy who looked like Charlie Chaplin. And this film was it had a huge budget. And it's reported as between $105 to $110 million. So we're going back 1996. This film was in production, and so you would, they threw all the stops at this. But Paul Verhoeven basically said in America, all they saw this film was fascist propaganda, and it was being heavily reported. And again, when I first watched this, boobs, guns, bugs, that's all I cared about. But listening to Paul Verhoeven with Casper Van Dien, the chap who played Rico in this movie, There was only one instance in Europe where they got challenged on this, and it was one interviewer in Italy, and Casper basically said, "You've not watched this film then, because if you'd have watched this film, you wouldn't be asking that question." So,
Yeah.
all that to say, this film basically didn't do that well. It had a huge budget. It was released on a massive scale. It was Paul Verhoeven, was a well-known guy. RoboCop. I mean, come on, RoboCop. And this
and Total
film,
Recall and Basic Instinct.
Yes, and Total Recall and
Yes.
Basic Instinct. This is a well-known guy. He had his chops in Hollywood, and this film just
Did the film he
bombed.
did before this? I haven't read my notes on this properly. Did the film that he did before this, was it Showgirls? Was it him that directed
Yes.
Showgirls? as
Yes, I
well?
believe
Yeah,
it was
he was
Showgirls.
coming
Yeah,
off-
he definitely
he
did
was-
Showgirls.
So I
was
think
coming
it
off
was
the
that
failure
that
of that.
probably affected it. Yeah, it probably
Yeah.
probably the fact that Showgirls bombed, that he probably didn't help him.
Yeah,
Didn't help the film.
I mean, me saying that
Denise
this
Richards wasn't.
Sorry, carry on, Rob.
there's no. I don't know if you're going to come into talking about who was in the film, but
Oh,
at that
absolutely.
point, the cast, the nobody knew who they were. Probably the biggest cast, the biggest person that people would know is probably Mr. Zim. But again, we'll talk about that in a second. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We are going into the cast. But yeah, to say it bombed's unfair. It made its money back, and when it got to VHS and later DVD, when DVD became a format that people were buying, it did gangbusters. It was huge.
but again, do you
Absolutely
think that
huge.
was because people that were underage, because over here it was an 18. Do you think that's
Mhm.
because people underage then had access to it and were able to view it, and therefore said to their mates, "Oh yeah, this 12-year-olds, it's got guns and boobs in it." Do you think that's probably why it's appealed to that age group?
Well, possibly. That there is one other thing to bear in mind with it as well. When it was released in UK cinemas, it was originally a 15. They changed it up to 18 for the VHS release. So they actually reclassified the movie. So that certainly would have helped. I don't know all the different ratings in America. R's the one that they try and avoid, isn't it, Kat? Because that basically just means strongly adults, isn't it?
You have to be it's like 17 or above, or if you have to be, they prefer 18, but if you're 17 you have to have like an adult with you. So you, like a kid, if the kid looks young and you try to go buy tickets for it, they'll ask for an ID. You can't provide an ID, then they say come back with a parrot for ours.
Oh.
So
See, there's the only equivalent of that you get in the UK is like a 12A, which is if you're under 12, you can attend that movie with an adult. But I don't believe there's no 15A and there's no 18A.
you only need permission with ours because it's G, PG, PG-13, and then R. And so R is the only one.
What's
that you have to have.
NC-17 then? What's that?
That's like above R.
Yeah.
So you they don't let
That's-
any underage
Yeah.
into movie theaters. You
So-
rent it.
so
That's one
Americans-
thing, but
America's NC-17 is R18.
worse
Right,
than
right,
R,
got you.
basically.
Yeah.
So I'll chuck a couple of things in here. We've already established Paul Verhoeven was the director, the writer of the movie. Edward Newmyer also wrote RoboCop. He did write one of the Starship Troopers sequels, Anacondas, Blood Orchid. It says here in my notes, I should have. Yes, that's right. He's not. I don't believe he's credited for RoboCop 2, but I believe he was replaced by Frank Miller, so he did some of it. But anyway, so as his chops. The source material of the movie is based on the book Starship Troopers by Robert A. I can't pronounce it. It's Heinlein. I think I'm not doing that too terribly. And that was also serialized in magazines and science fiction books. Now,
I'd like to have a read of that to see to compare.
It's good. It's good.
Is it?
There's some
It's-
significant changes, but it's really good.
Right.
There are huge changes, but there's something else I just want to jump down to in my notes. Basically, it wasn't originally when Paul Verhoeven come up with this concept. It wasn't based on Starship Troopers. They had an idea for a film called Bug Hunt at Outpost 7.
Yeah.
And basically the production in that said to him, this is so close to Starship Troopers. I believe that the rationale behind it was let's go for this because one, it's a credible book, and two, it will avoid the whole copyright thing if they're accusing us of stealing their thing. Do you see what I mean? So they ran with it, but Paul Verhoeven hated the book. I believe he struggled to get past something like 30 or 40 pages. He did feel it really was a fascist propaganda book. And this is one of the reasons he led into satirizing it so strongly in the movie. What's that face for, Kat? What you got to say there?
No, I did something at my house. I'm sorry. You're fine.
Oh, no, you were pulling a face, and I was thinking, what am I saying wrong?
No, you're fine. I will say, though, I saw him do an interview, and he was saying that he thought the rights to the movie were already taken. So he didn't even try for it. And I think that's where Outpost 7 kind of also came into play with it as well. And then when he found out the rights haven't been bought to it, he went for a shot with it. And I think it was really pivotal too, is, with CGI kind of coming out of the woodworks since 96, and them doing that test shot of the aliens. I think the studio was like, holy crap, no, run with this. Let's go. Just a little.
See, this is the thing. So we talk. Can we move on to CGI? Because I've got some strong opinions.
If I could just before we jump into the CGI, just so we can get for a couple of the production bits, and when we can go to it, then we absolutely can. This was released by TriStar Pictures. Runtime of 129 minutes. I've already said that it had a budget of between 105, well, actually between 100,000 and 110 million. There's various reports online, even Wikipedia says different all over. The approximate worldwide gross was 121 million. That was 60-40. It was like 40% of that was America, but the other 60% was Europe and other countries. And as we've already said, it did have quite mixed, It did much better in Europe, basically, and in America, it sort of wasn't received so well. Rob, what did you want to say about the CGI then, bud?
Well, I don't know what you guys think about the CGI. I don't know what the chat thinks about it, but the bugs are really good. Everything on the planets was really good. I did not buy for 1 second that Denise Richards is flying a spaceship, because the CGI I felt was so bad. And the thing is, if you think about it, where it is in the era of the CGI when it was coming through. So if you think Jurassic Park 93, you had the what's it called, the Star Wars reduxes in 97, at the early part 97, and then you had like Titanic and Phantom Menace obviously took it on from that towards the end of the 90s. So the bugs are good. But I just think the space shots were just horrifically bad, and I suspect a lot of the budget went on doing the CGI.
Well, there was a lot of that. I mean, it was actually nominated for an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, but I do believe it went up against Titanic, and there was that was it blown out of the water. Now, the interesting, I mean, Paul Verhoeven, that they used miniatures, there were actual some puppetry in some of the bugs. It wasn't all CGI. And I mean, I would agree, some of the space stuff looks a bit ropey, but I have to say, when I watched this back the other night again, I actually thought, for a film that's 29 years old, I thought that the CGI held up spectacularly for its age. Some of it's a bit smooth. There's sort of that time.
Yeah, no, it holds up. It holds up. It's just the space bits. I just think it did. Wait. There's a couple of things when they are shooting Denise Richards from behind and she's looking out into space. You can see basically she's looking at like a blank sort of screen in front of her. Yeah, effectively. Yeah. And you can see that. And I don't know if that's because of the resolution I was watching it on, or if it was just they just thought, oh, it's space, black will do. And just did it that way. I don't know. Yeah,
perhaps. I mean, there's some strange scenes in it. I mean, it's a Paul Verhoeven. You know when Rico takes the guy's helmet off, the tactical combat free helmet or whatever they call it, and he cops a slug. Yeah. You can very clearly see that's like a dummy. That's a very practical effect. Mm-hmm. But that I think that any film that has a combination of practical and CGI will always stand the test of time better than a film that is purely CGI, because CGI massively dependent on the time and the budget they're prepared to throw. And as you say, Rob, I do suspect that the majority of this budget certainly was the CGI, because let's face it, the cast, and we are going to go in, I will go into a few more of the cast members shortly. They weren't known people. They weren't big names.
No.
Arguable, a couple of them, they were more well known, but none of them were like what I would call your typical A-listers, were they?
No.
No.
To just kind of round out the comment with CGI, I think we can all agree that CGI was way better than even just watching the trailers for 2 and 3. It was so much worse. So I'll take it with their dropship, because it is a little wonky when you watch the dropships going and stuff like that. You know, like you can totally see that, but I think like what you said, the aliens though, I think they're spot on. I think they look absolutely fantastic though.
I think they look good. Bringing up a comment here from Donut Donny, Donny, he says he agrees with Rob. Majority of the special effects were pretty decent. Space scenes, not so much. Yeah. Maybe they just fall on the wayside. They fell on the wayside a bit there, because it's space, it's black, it's stars, it's
that's what I mean.
The real, just boom. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Now, there is a point I want to get to here, and there's something that me and Kat do every time we do a show together, and it is do this. The Star Wars connection. Kat, I finally made you a slide for it, mate.
Good job. Very proud of you.
Now, there's a couple of things here, but this is the main one I want to bring up. While we're talking special effects, this seems the natural. So, Phil Tippett was the visual effects supervisor on Starship Troopers, and he worked on the original Star Wars trilogy and was heavily involved in the stop-motion creature animation, including the Degeric Archless creatures, Tauntauns, AT-ATs, and more. So there you go. There is a Star Wars connection there. There's a couple of others. There's one that I'm going to bring this picture up here before I go into some others. Now, you see this here. This is whatever part of the big ships. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you see that circled thing there?
Yep. See aluminum.
So although I didn't spot it in the film, but apparently that is there. That can be. I didn't see it, man. I was.
Once you actually find it, you can't unsee it.
Okay. Well, as you can see there, guys, there is a Millennium Falcon on part of the ship there, and that's very heavily leaning into the Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, there are a couple of Star Wars connections, which, let's be fair, the later you go into Hollywood, it's now becoming almost impossible to not find a Star Wars connection.
You know,
and I'm sure there's more.
Who did the special effects? Who did the special? Was it ILM or was it? I don't know. I don't know.
I haven't got that written down. Let me have a look. Always asking the questions for the things I haven't got, Rob. You are spectacular. No, I'll find that out in a second. But no, Phil Tippett did the visual effects. He was the supervisor for it. As for the company, I will research that at this moment, because there you go. There's a oversight on my part. But I don't know if it was connected to ILM or whatnot. But yeah. That little picture there with the Millennium Falcon, I honestly didn't spot it, but then I wasn't looking for it, to be fair.
So it doesn't say ILM, but it says Tibbett Studio. So I think it was just him separately. It wasn't. And then also with Sony Pictures, ImageWorks, I think it's called. They were also kind of together. And I think there's somebody else, and I don't remember.
But that's that. I mean, I think
Studio as well. Sorry.
Okay.
No, that's all right, man. No, if there's a hole in my notes, we'll always look to find it. Do you know what, man? Whenever you prepare for these shows, and I've sent Rob the document here, there's a lot of notes. There's a lot of notes. So you'll always find that one thing where you go, damn it, should have lent into that a bit more.
I'm going to ask you a question for a second with the Star Wars connection. Okay, I think that it's kind of backwards. Instead of them taking inspiration from Star Wars, I think kind of how I took it is Star Wars took something from Starship Troopers. And that's with when you start the movie, you have a narrator and it's heavily into military stuff, what's going on. And you see that with the Clone Wars animated movie. We don't get a scroll. You get the guy talking, it's very going, okay, troops are mobilized, they're doing all this stuff. To me, they took a little bit that because it came out in what, 07 or 08, I think is when they animated. So to me, it kind of like flipped a little bit, that they're just like, hey, this works really well. That's just my theory with it and connection, but that's how I took it.
No, I see what you're saying. At first, when you were saying that, I was going, well, this come quite after Star Wars, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course, there is a whole sequel trilogy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not, them pulling from Star Wars. I feel like in a way, Star Wars is like, oh, I really like this. Let's pull from that. That's all.
No, absolutely. Rob, have you got anything else to say on that before I want to jump into some of the cast in a minute, just so we can fill and flesh the gaps out. But is there anything
No, I don't have anything. No, don't have anything to add.
Nothing to add. Okay, well, that's cool. So we've done, where are my cast notes? I'm going to name most of them off the top of my head, but I'm not going to do it because you know what will happen if I try and do that. Before I go, but while I find my notes on that, I have to ask, and this is quite important because I can bring this up now because we are going into the cast segment. Question. Carmen versus Dizzy. Who are we picking, guys?
Carmen is trash. She is straight up trash. Okay. I'm not going to ever not say that. She's trash. Trash.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I'm picking Dizzy every day of the week.
Shocker.
You can keep
different reasons.
Carmen.
Yeah, we see that differently. Why?
Well, I'm not going to say it live on air, but I gave Kat my very honest reason why I picked Diz. Right, but anyway, Rob, who are you going for on that?
Right, so at the time, I thought Denise Richards, she was very attractive, and obviously she went on to be a Bond girl.
She was 100%,
and all that sort of thing.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, she is a very attractive woman. But everybody, if you look at the causation of her going off to be a pilot, and then you've got Johnny Rico then follows her, and then naively, because she fancies a piece of him, then Dizzy then follows him. And so she effectively, spoiler alert, is the resulting factor as to why Dizzy gets killed, Ibanez. And also, the other question I have to ask about Dizzy is, out of everybody that gets killed, and I said this when me and Joe watched it last night, but out of everybody that gets killed, why is it Dizzy that is the only one that gets a funeral out of everybody that dies in that? Do
you know what I spotted that because the rest of them, they just sort it's almost like, we'll just leave them on the desert bug planet. They're expendable, and we will go into the nature of that as we get into the conversation later on. But Diz, was that Rico's choice? Kat, you're putting your hand up. What have you got to say?
It's the only body they took with them.
Yeah, but they could have taken the leaders.
But they were literally running away, and the ship was right there. So I'm gonna take the girl I just slept with.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Ratjack had sort of been chewed in half, hadn't he?
It was the only body they took.
But they could have. But with him,
I know
they
what you're
could have.
saying.
He was only half of a body, so they could have got him on the ship.
He was even lighter, and they could have detached the arm.
They didn't show it,
Yeah.
Anyway, hello, Jester. Thanks for joining us this evening. It's got Dizzy for me. Donnie's got Dizzy. Joe's got Dizzy.
Yeah.
Who have we got here? I really must say, Rico or Carl? Well, it's got to be Rico, isn't it? And what's Donnie saying here? Dizzy didn't have a rank, so gave her a funeral, and she was main character.
She had a rank.
We saw that. Yeah, she was just a. I'm not even going to. Okay, my son was here now. He'd correct me on all the military ranks going, but you know.
I mean, technically, she was squad leader, so isn't that still a rank?
Yeah.
Technically,
I thought. Well, either way, she was always under Johnny Rico.
Yeah, but he literally made her squad leader. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
you know we're gonna.
Nick.
But the lieutenant, but they still didn't take Radchek back with them. So, you know, they could have done and given him a few.
You know what to do, Rico. No. Blast you in the chest, Rav. What?
Listen, he didn't die instantly.
No, but he knew what
he was
to do.
He was just like, instead of just one client shot to the head. There you go. Like,
yeah.
Sorry, sorry if the camera dipped out there and everything just dropped
alright.
off for a second there. I do apologise.
That scene, talking about that scene, just quickly, what I picked up on last night was that when they said, "Oh, we've got air support coming in," I heard somebody say, I heard somebody say on the thing, "I hope there's going to be a good pilot," and all of a sudden, of course, it's going to be Ibanez and the other chap, and you're just like, "Oh, yeah, okay, fine."
Right. Jojo says that she was a private. Right. Let's jump into the cast now. Casper Van Dien as Johnny Rico. I've also got some. I've made slides, mate. I mean, you're gonna have to pick them out yourself on here, Kat, or explain who's who. Yeah, I know. Okay. So we had Casper Van Dien as Johnny Rico. You can see him there, bottom left, with a big cheesy grin. He later appeared in films like Sleepy Hollow, Battle Angel 2019. We had Denise Richards as Carmen Ibanez. She's there next to Rico. We had and I have to say, Wild Things would be the film I remember most of hers. And The World Is Not Enough being a Bond fan. I don't know why Wild Things always sticks with me, but it does.
I do.
It's a wonder.
It's a wonder. We also have the fantastic Dina Meyer. It's almost like you'd almost think I've got a real life crush on Dina Meyer, wouldn't you? Still looking absolutely fantastic to this day. She is in the bottom right hand corner. She's just a badass. Dina Meyer playing Dizzy Flores. She also appeared in Johnny Mnemonic. That's one of the films got there, and later in the Saw films, which I'm going to hold my hands up in. So I haven't watched the Saw films, guys. I've caught about half of the first film. Not something that ever jumped at me.
I've seen two.
She was also, as I said today as well, that she's also Joey's girlfriend in a few episodes of Friends. I don't know which season it was, but yeah,
was she?
I remember that.
You did say that.
Yeah.
You did say that.
Yeah.
I haven't got him on slide.
But no, she was only in for a couple of episodes. Nothing major.
Yeah.
I have no slides for him, but Jake Busey playing Ace Levy, literally Gary Busey's son. I mean, Gary Busey's son, and it's so clear.
He was in the bottom shot, I think, with
was he?
Rico and Carmen. He was in the middle of Rico and Carmen when you were talking about that.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's just behind Carmen, looking like he's going to bite Carmen's head. Yes, I see him now.
Also,
I see him.
I from him, I took from him that he was playing like the Iceman, like the Top Gun Iceman sort of character. Everybody hates him at first, but he's actually quite a nice guy, At the end of the movie.
To be fair, the introduction he has with Rico in the thing, I mean, he's a bit of an arsehole, and he's like, when Rico stands up to him, he's like, everyone needs a friend like me, and you're like, it actually turns out right. You do need an ace in your life.
I'm so sorry. Somebody's at my door. I have to step away for a second. I'm so sorry.
That's all right, mate. You go do your thing. We'll carry on going through the cast. You do your thing. It's a live show. That's what happens. This is the joy of live. So we had Jake Busey. He appeared in The Frighteners in 1996, later in Predators, and I do believe he was in, is it Hacksaw, the film that had the issues with the live firing incident with Alec Baldwin, was it?
No, it was Rust something. Rust. I think it was just called Rust.
Rust. Okay, well, am I thinking Hacksaw? Yeah, no, my bad. But he was involved with that film. Cheers for clearing that one up there, Rob. Well, I got Hacksaw on the brain. We also had Patrick Muldoon, who played Xander Barklow, who's the guy that who's the guy that Carmen clearly falls in love with at the sort of space football game, ends up, he's a bit stalkery, following her through the fleet just to get near her, which I found that a bit creepy. Sadly, well, not sad that he was played by Patrick Muldoon. Patrick Muldoon, awesome actor, but sadly he passed away on the 19th of April this year. So he has departed us. And we have supporting cast. How he's supporting, well, he is supporting, but Michael Ironside as Jean Ratchak, obviously Total Recall, Scanners, need I say more? Clancy Brown as Sergeant Zim, the guy who actually saves the day at the end by capturing the brain bug.
See, at the time, Brown, I was going to say, I would argue that at that time, he was probably the most famous out of everybody in that little...
100% he was.
MPH, you're going to come on to MPH in a sec, but... Clancy Brown, everybody, Everybody knows Clancy
Well,
Brown.
yeah,
Now.
well, Clancy Brown. I mean, the Kurgan from Highlander, a film that me and Kat have covered on Real Impact. It's a film we very much love. I just go back to what we got here. Bit of a stalker. That's referring to Xander. Kat, while you were away, I said that I felt Xander was a bit of a stalker for Carmen. The way he tracked her down in the in the space fleet.
It's even worse if you watch the deleted scenes.
Oh,
He's such a creep in the deleted scenes. I mean, he's still a creep anyway, but they cut down the creepiness.
He is a creep. I don't know if you're aware, because your screen, I did say, sadly, Patrick Muldoon, who played him, did pass away on the 19th of April.
Yes.
So jumping back down, Clancy Brown, Shawshank Redemption. I didn't realize this, but apparently the voice of Mr. Krabs in
yeah.
SpongeBob. I may have read that fact when we did Highlander. I just don't remember.
We went over that.
Did we? Kat,
Yes,
there's been many a beer and many a show since,
It's fine.
and the
It's been
amalgamation of
I
information.
know. No.
Also, Dexter
good.
New Blood. He played the main bad guy in Dexter New Blood. He was awesome in that. Loved him in that. He's done loads of stuff. Neil Patrick Harris. Now, Roxette, you saying about the most famous one at the time. Neil Patrick Harris wouldn't have been at the height of his fame then, though, would he?
No, he wouldn't. No,
Nowhere
I
near.
mean, he was Doogie Howser. I don't know if you guys remember Doogie Howser. People in the chat.
Oh, that was a
Des T will know Doogie
staple in
Howser.
my house.
Well, yeah, I think it's still on. Is it on Disney Plus? You can get it now, or HBO? Anyway,
Is it?
it's what over here. Yeah, I'm fairly sure I've seen it recently. But was he? That's
So,
news to
Kat,
me.
Delvian has come in with that Clancy Brown was also in Star Wars. So there is another Star Wars connection. I said there'd be more. It's just once I find one, I tend to just go with it. Who did he play in Star Wars?
don't know. Andy will tell us.
Now that you say that, I'm not going to tell you. I can see him
That's
in my
all right,
head. I can't think of the name, but I can see his character. In my head.
Savage, Moore's
There you
brother's
go.
voice.
Yes.
There we go.
Savage.
Thank you, Delvian, for that.
Savage.
Yeah, no, Neil Patrick Harris at the time. Sorry, go on.
Ryder in Rebels and Ahsoka. So there we go.
I don't remember that, but sure.
And also Albert comes in with Clancy
Thanks,
Brown in
Albert.
Star Wars. Ryder as Ryder, I can't even pronounce that. Sorry, buddy. Savager Press and the Tiller brother. Sorry, I'm gonna have to start. I'm actually gonna have to concede and get glasses.
That's
11th brother.
dude.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Problem is, when I'm on street, right? So when I'm on other people's shows, I can enlarge the screen fully and see the comments. But on this, I have to have it small so I can control everything. I'm struggling to read it.
Wait, more importantly, he was a blurg.
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect
There you
timing.
go. But back to Neil Patrick Harris. I mean, Monkey Boy was saying Doogie Howser was brilliant. Hello, Dave. Thank you for joining us this evening. Yeah. Who else did we have? Oh, and it says here, How I Met Your Mother. I never watched How I Met Your Mother. Wasn't my bag at all. Well, I say I never watched it. I watched enough to know I didn't want to watch it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
It wasn't for
it's
me.
like Friends. It's like a Pepsi Max version of Friends, effectively. That's how I. sort of like
Okay.
it.
Okay.
thought it was
And he did a
pointless.
pit. He was I forget the character's name. I'm supposed to be a Hoovian. He did play the bad guy in the comeback episode with David Tennant in the Doctor Who episodes that Russell T did. So he was.
Okay.
Who was he? Carla, Mrs. APD in the chat. If you can put that in the chat, I'll read it out a bit later on. Now, jumping onto the actors, who we've sort of. Me and Rob are sort of in agreement now. I don't know if you picked up on this, Cat. That Michael Ironside would have been the most sort of, and arguably Clancy Brown after, or maybe level, were the most well-known guys in this film. Looking at this now, given that I think they could have took the cast of Saved by the Bell and put them in for most of the characters on this film, because that's, people playing teenagers. People who were 29 at the time of filming, but I'm talking like, your Casper Van Dien's, and your Dina Meyers and your whatnots. I get this feeling that they were going for that. They were going for cheesy. They were going for cheesy. So I'm going to ask you guys, is there I normally say, who's your favorite actor in the film? I'm going to say Dina Meyer, but I'm going to switch up. Who's the character you like least, or on an acting basis? Is there anyone who stands out at you and you go, they were just terrible in this?
No, while we're thinking, I just say, is it Dean Henderson? He's the guy. He's in a lot of things. I think he was in Total Recall as well. But he was the boss when Casper Van Dien goes to leave, and he says, "Is that your signature on there?" And Clancy Brown rips it up.
Oh yeah, from Breaking Bad. Yeah,
Breaking
yeah.
Bad.
Dean Norris.
He is in a lot of stuff, and he's never looked differently. He's been like that look for decades.
Yeah, for sure.
He reminds me of my dad, because my dad has just looked his age forever, old forever. He's just
right.
Oh, obviously he's aged, but like my dad doesn't look like him. But you just get those people who just never age, don't you? They just always look the same. Kind of like was it Gandolfini was a bit of the same, wasn't he? Just never really looked like someone who aged.
No, I think going back to your original question though, I would say I don't know if she's meant to be like the can I say bitch? I suppose I just did. But I think Denise Richards, I just think that she, anybody could have played that part. Amy Smart's in this as well as the other girl. I quite like her too. But anyway, no, Denise Richards, I don't really like her as a character, but I don't know if that's because I'm not meant to like her as a character or what.
I think she's meant to be. I'm just gonna throw this out there because Mrs. APD did come through for me. She's literally sat on the other side of this wall. Neil Patrick Harris played the toy maker in that Doctor Who episode I was talking about. Thanks, babe. I literally it left my brain. I don't think it helps that we're currently in the middle of it. I don't normally wear a vest on Real Impact, right? I'm not doing this to show me because it's very hot here at the moment, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah.
I'm under studio lights and in a sound treated room, and I am cooking. My brain is struggling tonight.
You're all good.
So, Rob, you're saying Denise Richards was sort of the one who you're like not loving.
She was the one. Yeah, I don't know if she was meant. If I was meant to not like her, if she played it so well that I was meant to dislike her. But yeah, that's the one I really just don't like her. Sorry.
No, you're not a fan. Kat. So, Kat, anyone who stood out to you that you just didn't love in the movie?
Okay, so I mean, we all know Carmen's trash, but I feel like she played that part really well. But I actually don't like Carl. I can't stand him in that movie. Like he just comes across certain ways, but I just feel like there's a lot lacking with this character. And then obviously, I mean, we'll talk about later on like how he actually looks and that kind of stuff and like what he's become and all that kind of stuff. But I know. But I don't feel a lot from his character. It's very like one-dimensional and it's just kind of flat performance to me. So I don't like Carl at all.
Well, I don't need to go into it too long. Carl's a dick in this film. And the acting's just a bit meh. Right, but I'm going to jump. Right, I've got to come here anyway. So Jester put Rico, so I assume he didn't like Casper Van Dien or wasn't a fan of the Rico character. I didn't mind Rico. He just reminds me of a bit of a Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. I just get Saved by the Bell vibes when I watch this film. It's the cast that they're in anybody cast, those guys. As much as I love Dina Meyer, I honestly believe you could have took the cast of Saved by the Bell or any sort of 90s era young adults playing teenagers and popped them in that film, because he went for that. You don't pick Casper Van Dien because you want the best, like you want an Oscar worthy performance, do you? Let's be fair.
No, but he was also chose to play a jock. He plays that role really well.
Yeah, I think again, going back to the general overview of the film and what they were looking for, pretty much all of them have blonde hair and blue eyes to a degree. Definitely blue eyes. And so he fulfills that sort of...
He does, yeah.
Blonde hair, blue eyed sort of thing. If we're going down the old bloke with a tash sort of, and in Argentina as well, coming from that background.
Yes.
So
that's a great way to word it tonight. The bloke with a tash. That's how we'll get him around this tonight.
Okay. I may forget that. Just call him Mr. H again.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin, bloke with the tash. Yeah. So we'll go in. We will get to the back source. We're going to dive a bit more into the book, the source, the slight differences, the meaning behind the film, the satire and whatnot. But I do want to say we've got to get into a bit of the music here, and I will go into who the composer in that was, just to move along a little bit. Same composer as RoboCop, Basil Poledouris. I've pronounced that completely wrong, I suspect. Known for Conan the Barbarian, RoboCop, Hunt for Red October. I've just got a few listed. It's a huge list. Now, you know, I said earlier, you watch this film and you can just tell this is from the guy who did RoboCop. Now, although the soundtrack, it's brassy, it's percussion, patriotic themes and whatnot, so many points through it. I know it's the same composer. I know it's the same director. Did you guys get hints of RoboCop listening to the background music?
Yeah.
You just hear RoboCop.
Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't just me, though. I wasn't imagining it.
No. But I honestly kept forgetting about RoboCop through the movie. I mean, I kept the music wise, but every time I just looked at the cast, I just constantly thought about Total Recall because a good, there's several in them. That's all I could think of. But then I kept thinking, I want to watch that movie again. But music wise, yes, I think of RoboCop for sure.
So what did you guys think of the score for the film then? Did you think it fitted well? Do you feel it did it stand out to you, or was it just there? Because some scores and that they are just there, aren't they? They don't really. If you took them away, obviously you'd miss them. But some scores you watch, you know exactly what I'm saying, like, don't you guys? Like some scores, they stand out and you go, oh my God, I want that on CD. I want to listen to that again and again. That's amazing. And others are just, meh. Where are you guys on that?
For me, it's forgettable. Like, I don't really remember it. Like, if you asked me to like hum it now, even though I've literally watched it a bunch of times this week for notes and stuff, I could not, for the life of me, do that. It's not John Williams, it's not Indiana Jones, Jaws, Star Wars, all this stuff. It's none of that. Even Jurassic Park. It's very, for me, it's very forgettable. It's good, but I forget it the second I don't hear it.
I'm a cat on that. I agree. That is true. It was it was there, but it wasn't memorable.
Nope.
Yes.
RoboCop, I've got in my head, but that's the thing as well, though. You're saying that he was the same composer as the guy that did RoboCop, but in my head, all I'm thinking now is the RoboCop thing, and then transposing that onto the Starship Troopers film, and it will fit.
Yeah,
it would fit, and I mean, RoboCop's got its iconic theme in that, but you're using the same composer, the same director, the sort of. If you said to me that RoboCop and Starship Troopers were in the same universe but 200 years apart, I'd totally buy it. However, I don't know. It was a bit of a nothing burger for me. Like, it wasn't bad. It was good. It did what it needed to do to progress the film and be there. But it didn't. As you said, it's not John Williams, is it? It's not.
No.
It just,
like I said, do the theme. Can you recall the theme right the second without thinking of RoboCop?
No, because RoboCop just comes into my head immediately, and this is what I was getting through the film. It's just RoboCop. Exactly. And Rob's right, and I hope someone out there, a fan, will edit it just to put the RoboCop music over the top of this film at some point.
We'll clip it.
I mean, yeah, it's orchestral. It's got that military sound to it, but it just doesn't grab me by the balls and say, go and buy this flipping CD. Do you know what I mean? Not that many things grab me by the balls, but what a terminology to use.
No.
I just to jump to this comment here, because I've got to go back to this, and when people bring up things that need reading, they need reading. So JT says, as president of the Casper Van Dien Appreciation Society, I must say that criticism of Casper Van Dien's acting is completely and utterly justified. And what's Monkey Boy got? I'm brave bringing this up without reading it first. I think the movie was cast in the spirit of B movies, absolutely, from the 40s and 50s. Names big enough to recognise, but not big enough to overcook the tone. Yeah, I would agree with that. I also think there was Paul Verhoeven said that he wanted young, sexy people in this film. He purposely wanted that's what he said. Young, sexy people. That's he wanted.
Yeah.
Young adults who people were going to look at and go, oh my God, they're hot. And look what happened. I mean, look at the market. Look at forget all the satire and everything there. Kat, from a female perspective, was there plenty of eye candy for you in this movie?
Absolutely. Listen, I don't, whichever way you got Carmen, she's gorgeous. You got Dizzy, she's gorgeous. Rico's a total hottie. Ace, no. But there's other eye candies throughout the movie with men and stuff like that. But listen, I'll even listen. I'm a huge fan of Razchik. Like, how you doing? What's up? Daddy's home. Okay, that's fine. Like, there's plenty to go around. But yes, they served on that.
And there's certainly plenty of eye candy for the gentleman in this film. Oh, hey, whatever you like. I mean, whatever, there's eye candy for whoever in this film, whatever you enjoy, to be honest with you, it's there. And
if you get off on brain sucking bugs, if that's your thing, that's there for you.
Well, interestingly,
not the brain bug.
I mean, we've already spoke a bit about the special effects, and let's see if I've got him on the slide I had earlier. I don't think I've got the brain bug. Have I got the brain bug? No, you failed, Nick. You didn't get the brain bug anyway.
Didn't get the brain bug.
It looks like female genitalia.
It does. It's really gross.
I think it's meant to.
It is.
It's very a whole design thing.
Yeah.
But interestingly, they had, because of the dryness of where they were recording, they just had to keep slavering it with KY jelly. Apparently, they used buckets, gallons of the stuff, and they just kept slavering it all on and around the sort of opening of the bug and all over it. And the cast said it was, I watched a panel of them and they said it was just disgusting. It was just,
I have it up if you
about
want me to share it.
Yeah, bring it on up.
You want to share it real quick? Okay.
I believe you can bring it up yourself. You have admin rights, if I recall. Look at that.
You have to let me know when it changes. So, I mean, it's like, I like how the other bugs look. This one, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and then they did a close up and no, I'm good.
Just hearing Rob doing the RoboCop theme that's in his head now. That's all he can hear.
It was like after Shabby's quiz the other night, I went to bed singing Sonia. For God's sake. Not good.
That's funny.
So just to say, Jester says, I didn't think Patrick Muldoon was that hot. R.I.P.
He's a good looking guy.
I've got to refer to Kat on that, but I mean, I'm not looking at him and going, he wasn't Hemsworth level though, was he? Because even Hemsworth, I understand that, and Momoa, I understand that.
If you have to pick over Rico and that dude, you're gonna pick Rico. We'll just leave it at that. But he's not, I mean, I can see why Carmen was into him.
Sorry, but no, cheers for bringing up the slide of the
brain bug.
The brain bug.
I gotcha.
Let's jump back a little bit. So we've already touched on that this was based on the book, which Robert said he would like to read.
It's a good read.
I might look it up on. Well, anyone who's watched before knows that me and my reading are not the best, but I wouldn't mind listening to it on
audiobook.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that they went after this. We know that there are differences. There's various differences. I mean, in the book, Carmen's nowhere near as involved. It's played a lot more straight. Other things that are different. They had big mech suits in the book, which they didn't have in this. Those mech suits, from the description and the pictures I've seen, look kind of like the outfits from Halo, the computer game Halo. I'm not a big gamer, but it kind of reminded me of that.
I can see that.
So with that, I was assuming that was a production the production got involved in that because production choice decision. Because if you've got those pretty young things, and plus they're going to be talking as well, like we said no more Mandalorian
budget constraints as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Well, there is that. But like if you've got a decent actor, you want to see their face. The Mandalorian is a different thing altogether. That's just part of the plot. But
we said no more Mando.
Yeah, but I'm going to leave it there. But if you've got attractive people, you're going to want to see their face. So I assume they designed it so that you can. I assume. So you
Yeah.
can see their
Yeah,
face.
and that would make sense because I believe in the book Carmen wasn't a huge role in it. She ended up shaving her head. I listened to a YouTube sort of documentary of a guy talking over the book, just explaining the book versus the film, because I knew I was never going to get round to it. So I just wanted to bring myself up a little bit up on it. But in the book, there's the differences. The bugs are so much more intelligent, like almost sentient sort of level of intelligence.
Yeah.
There's
Go ahead. Sorry.
Say a thing. No, say a thing.
I was just going to say, I think a big thing in the movie too is with Rico and his dad. He's so against him becoming a citizen and joining. And in the book, his mom dies, but the dad doesn't, and he actually joins and helps to fight and stuff. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a big difference. And Dizzy's a guy who I believe, from what I understood, was in the film for one scene. And it was a funeral scene or a death scene, wasn't it? It wasn't. There was
very long.
There was no going in the tent for 10 minutes and getting given an additional 10 minutes, was there? It was it was what it was. So yeah, the book's very different, and I've already said that Verhoeven didn't like the book. Well, my note here is that Verhoeven disliked the book, found it overly right-wing, and couldn't even finish reading it. So he intentionally pushed the film towards the satire. Now, on that, we said earlier, what did you guys? But I didn't pick up any of this. I'm going to start with Rob. I've got a few thoughts on the sort of tones on this film. This film, to me, it's satire. It's not pushing a right-wing agenda. It's true. I get what Paul Verhoeven did, though unfortunately it wasn't picked up right in its day. What are the big points for you, Rob? Because you said you had quite a lot to sort of say on this.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how many people in the chat know me or watching this know me, but I'm currently in the middle of doing a degree in history and politics. So when I watched this, things and themes that were coming through. Oh, Stu's here. Hi, Stu.
Just to say, sorry to cut you off, Stu, my man, you did fantastic. Everyone is proud of you. What you've achieved this weekend is absolutely incredible. You're awesome, mate. So well done, you. Pat yourself on the back, and mate, don't be disappointed in yourself for a minute, mate, because we are all very proud of you, and we're all very, very. We think what you did was excellent, mate. So good on you, man. You did something that so many people wouldn't even think about doing. So
you're amazing.
That walk, what you achieved, all the power to you, Stu. Brilliant. Anyway, taking the show off. Sorry, Rob. I had to bring that in.
On that note, I was going to say, I don't know how many people are watching. I don't expect anybody to be watching it today that's done that. But yeah, for people that aren't aware, then there's a group of guys in the group that we're in that have walked 100 kilometers over the last 24 hours, 60 miles from London to Brighton. And they've done really well to do that in the last 24 hours. So well done, everybody. I'm really proud to know you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that was all connected to Stu and his Give Kids the World charity streams he does, and for hitting his target. And to think to do all that work already, then beast yourself. Just to beast yourself like that, absolutely incredible. I'm in awe of you, mate. I genuinely am. I normally take every opportunity to take the pee out of you, because that's our friendship, but not tonight, mate.
You can't with that. No,
not tonight, mate. You're a legend, mate. So there we go. Rob. Anyway, that was that's a distraction that I believe was completely necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm doing a degree in history and politics through university, and some of the images and the general theme absolutely floored me with what they were getting at. So if you break down, I've heard a few people say this, but the way that it's presented, it could almost be like a documentary of what it's like going and being a citizen. Because they lay it out very clearly at the beginning of the film with the school bits, and they set it up very well. And that's one thing I will say about this film. It's the setup for the second well, the second 2/3 of the film, the last 2/3 of the film is done very, very well in the first because you know who they are, you know what their deal is, and you know where they come from background wise, because you've got all the arguments about him going off to war. The imagery wise, you see, you've got the flag. That in itself is quite reminiscent of the.
It's got a big eagle in.
Yeah,
it's got that very metallic looking eagle in it, hasn't it?
And if you
let me bring up a slide to show you that
the East German flag used to look, you know, that's not a million miles away from that sort of thing.
No.
The way that they dress is very militaristic from that part of from the, shall we say, the 1930s. The way that MPH is dressed in that slide you've got there, Nick, on the left, he looks like somebody who's going to interrogate you, and I mean he does anyway because the way he is, because of his role in the film. You've also got the way that it's I mean, look at how Denise Richards is there. To me she looks Russian, like a Russian agent there. They all look like Russian agents to me there. And then you've got the connection with Argentina, where apparently a lot of our people, you know, our friends from the guy with the mustache, where they headed was Argentina. Like I said, all blonde hair, blue eyes, Aryan, and they are selling war. And this is where I come into the fascism side of things. They're selling war like it's your duty. You must, in order to defend your people and to be a good person, you need to go to war. Now, my issue is, and I said this to Nick the other day, why are they attacking the bugs? What have the bugs done? We have no backstory as to what the bugs have done. And this is, again, I said this to Joe last night, even are the bugs sending the meteorites, or is that propaganda? Because there's nothing there. You've got the big beetles, the scarab sort of size beetles that are sending those rockets out and taking people down. But then they're getting out of the atmosphere, but they're not heading to Earth, because Earth is millions, billions of miles away. So these meteorites that are heading towards Earth, where are they? Are they just meteor showers? And then the Republican people are saying these are people that we need to worry about. Exactly, Jay. So there are strong links, and I think, like I say, I think an American director, and I'm not hating on I'm not, and we don't need to go into American politics, but I think an American director would have definitely taken that down a different route than a Dutch director, and the Dutch people.
Well, Verhoeven grew up. I believe he grew up. I don't think he was around in Second World War, but he was born sort of immediately after, and of course in Europe and whatnot, there was still, even when the war ended, it's still there were repercussions for many years, you know.
Well, the Dutch are still very liberal. They're still very liberal in their outlook on things, and they're very anti-fascism. They're very anti all of that sort of thing. So yeah, what is their purpose? Why are they fighting? That's what I want to know. And if they'd have gone into that in a bit more detail, then it might have become clearer. But maybe the design of the film is that they don't need to. They shouldn't. They didn't want to.
What
didn't have to.
Things I note before I come to Cat mention it's sad. I mean, it's blind patriotism. It's you. Although there are theories online as to it being, what is it they call a false flag event? Is it where the government set it up, or right, okay. But the thing is, they're just theories. That's not confirmed in the films, and it's not confirmed in the film. So it's not confirmed in the film. I can't take that as the reason. So as you've already established, Rob, we don't know the reason. You see those videos that are very reminiscent of propaganda videos from the past. I mean, I know they didn't have TV then, but in theaters, the man with the tash had made. And interestingly, Kat sent me a video Friday of a Marines Be the Best Marines video from the 90s that she remembers. And I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this is just flipping. This is Starship Troopers. This is one of these videos, which obviously that they're intentionally made to be like the ads that people would see. But when you sort of know what's going on in the film and you see that, you're like, wow, it's you know, how they're promoting. I'm trying to think best how to word it, but
my understanding is that, like, when in America, when Top Gun came out, my understanding is they had recruitment officers from the Navy were stood in the foyers at the theaters, and people coming out of Top Gun going, yeah, we're the best, and then going and joining the Navy. straight off the back of
Mhm.
that. So they do jump on these things, and there are real life examples of how they get people into the military doing like those sorts of propaganda stuff. I'm not saying Top
Glamorize
Gun's
it.
propaganda. Yeah, glamorize
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to JT's comment, the Dutch don't tend to like the
No, they
Germans.
don't. No.
No.
They don't. And to bring up Jester's comment there, two choices to join or not to join the the coolest army in the world. The thing is, they do make the army. These kids. I mean, when you look back to the film, Ratchak, when he's in the film, he's military. He literally says in the film, there's people. He says that only violence has ever really war is the only thing that's ever solved problems in the world. He's saying that to young kids. He's bigging it up. We find out that to become a full citizen, you have to serve. You don't have to serve, but if you don't serve, your life is going to be markedly harder. You're not going to have the right to vote. And they really push that voting is power in this film. They really do push that. They say, although not impossible, it makes it easier. The girl in the shower, it makes it easier to get a license to have babies. It also has the other themes, like the guys that I want to go to Harvard, but I can't afford that. But if I serve for 2 years, they will put me through that. And I guess that, but there certainly are things in the military that give you those opportunities. But to tell people you're not going to be a full citizen, you're not going to get certain rights, you're not going to get this, you're not going to get that from a young age. Yeah. That if that was how it was today, that would be quite terrifying. To not be in a society that deems that service essential to be a full citizen. You are second rate if you do not fall in, you do not put yourself forward. Is the way.
The other side of that as well. I mean, bolstering what you're saying about not being a full citizen is you've got the example of Rico's parents trying to talk him out of joining because he's wealthy. Then he can bypass all that sort of thing. He doesn't need to join the military because
absolutely
he comes from a wealthy background. He comes from a background of privilege, and therefore, you don't need to worry about all that sort of thing because we've got shed loads of money. Yeah,
and you raise a brilliant point there, and that absolutely we've got money. So basically, you've either got to be bloody rich or you've got to serve, and if you don't, that's what's your. Is there anything on that, Kat, that you want to add? Anything?
I mean, you guys have said a lot of like what I agree with. And I think for when you look at it certain ways, it's not pro right or pro left, but I think it shows like the potential either side could do. And I think it also goes into, well, if voting is limited, this is what could happen. But they also heavily value blind ambition and propaganda over like humility and love. I mean, if you kind of look at Carmen in the beginning, Rico's all over her. And she keeps like denying him and pushing him back. And then even doing that little video thing, pop, bubblegum in his face and stuff, because it's like they're drilled into, no, that may come later, but anything to get in the way of you choosing service for them is a no-no. So we don't want that. And that's why. And then if you watch the deleted scenes, that's kind of explained a little bit more, that, that relationship is kind of taboo with that, with everything. And I think, kind of just to touch on with it is that the brainwashing is incredible in this movie. It is so in your face, over the top, like you guys were talking about with all the videos. And you see how like much worse they get in as the movie progresses with like, I just always go back to that crazy teacher laughing like a psychopath when the kids are stomping on the cockroaches. She's like losing her mind over it. And they're just really drilling into it with young people. And you see that one part with them, we're doing our service. And then you see the little kid all dressed up like a soldier. I'm doing my part. It's very heavily with that.
When you're later in the film, sorry to jump in there. It's
okay.
I don't want a discussion about gun control. I'm not interested in that discussion.
Yeah.
But it's when they show the children, certainly not on this show, when they show the children, and you've got, we call them the Marines per se, they're essentially Marines, handing them the rifles, letting them grab handfuls of bullets, really glamour. Like this is cool. This is sexy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And you've also got sorry, Kat, just quickly,
okay.
but you've also got them with the bugs when you're talking about the stamping on the bugs.
Yeah.
That put in mind to me a particular group of people. Again, we're not going down the political route. Political group of people that are, in theory, have been persecuted through the time because of the bloke with the tash, and how people react to them. And there's a very good analogy for that. So sorry, Kat, go on.
No, you're okay. No, to kind of go in with that, it's like you brought up the video that I showed you with the Marines. It was, the few, the proud, the Marines, which they played that video constantly. It was a guy in a maze, and then the floor gives out. He climbs over. There's a big ball of fire, and I kind of call it like a He-Man moment because he pulls out a sword. He's fighting a stone, and then it like electrocutes the sword, and he turns into the Marines. So it's very glamorous. It doesn't show you the horrors and what happens to poor soldiers and stuff like that, and then you see that they have teachers, his teacher has wounds, he's got a blind teacher. It's kind of looked over. And then when Johnny signed up, he goes, oh, infant mobile tree guy. He goes, that's who made me, today. And he literally looks at him, I think, differently for the first time, like, oh crap. But it's all just
missing two legs, missing an arm.
Right. But they also
made me the man I am today.
Right.
Yeah, that's the
line. I think what they did really well too with the bugs though is they made them faceless. This is you can't really be sorry for this hideous bug. And we've seen that again in history too, is that when you really go after somebody, you're really teaching that person out of nowhere, Joe Schmo coming around, all of a sudden they're hating a certain group for no reason. And that's the same thing that they're doing with the bugs. They're literally going through that. And I think the commercial, just my last little thing, is how it sums up the Federation is, oh, we caught a murderer. Oh, guess what? He's been tried. He's guilty. Execution at 6 p.m. I'm sorry. You said you just caught him.
No due process, no nothing. Just literally boom,
nope. Oh,
done.
We caught him dead. Okay. That tells you all you need to know about the Federation, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But it's very, the messages of the film, it very much pushes that violence solves everything. Violence is medic. Well, there was a comment there that that hi Excelsior, thanks for joining us. Your enemy cannot fire a nuke if you take out his hand. Now, even
push the button.
The reason I bring this comment up, there's the scene where Jake Busey gets the knife in the hand when he challenges Clancy Brown about the this is stupid. Why are we throwing knives? It really hammers home. You guys are expendable. There's plenty. We will just
100%.
injure you.
Yeah.
But we don't give a shit. You're just another one to the meat grinder. There's plenty more people coming in.
Johnny says it when they get rescued. I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, but he says MI is just made for dying. He acknowledges it because that's all they're.
Well, even
when
even when Johnny gets the roll off of Ratjack,
Yeah.
Troop Commander. What's it? He says something about I'll do the job until you find someone better, or I get killed, or whatever the line is. It's just. Yeah. There's no. It's all they almost accept that this is the thing that they're going to be facing, and you think what is it's been put into them that this is sexy, so they've got this sense of we have to do this patriotism, but it's also it's also said in the film something that you don't. At any point, from what I could gather, at any point in this film, whether you're in basic training or you have passed through, because there's a point in all military, I believe, where once you pass a certain point, that's it, you're in, you do your time, or you know what I mean, unless you're dishonorably discharged. But they make it known in the film very much. You can leave this at any time. You can go. You can walk down Failure Avenue, or whatever it is they call it. Like
Washout Avenue.
Washout Avenue.
Lane.
Thank you, Rob.
Washout Lane. Yeah.
But the other thing in this film that stands out to me is, and jumping back a bit on what we've said, is although it's not said, the fact they jumped to Geneva, I think me and Rob had a bit of back and forth on this the other night on WhatsApp. That it would appear that the world is at peace. Everyone in the world is at peace, and it's all run by this one, almost a global government, and they're at peace. And what stands out to me is that it's sort of like it's the human nature of it. So we can achieve world peace through power, violence, whatever, and that. And because we don't know the origin of why the bugs are attacking, really, we see the propaganda videos, and they are propaganda
Right.
videos. It just says, but humans,
know-
you still, even still, you've achieved world peace at this point. You've got all the technology in the world. This is far in the future, where you show it in the film that you can deflect these meteorites. All that money you're investing in the mobile infantry, you could invest on a planetary defense system.
Right.
But you just still got to go and get your piece of the action. You just still got to have a fight with someone.
How I see it, and this is another reason why I think Carmen is trash, because she escalates it. But I think with that whole thing of what happens with her and Xander in that sequence is that that's enough justification that that Federation has been waiting for to do what they want. They want to do basically, genocide. They want an excuse, and this gives them that. They got it.
Yeah,
they got what they want.
Absolutely. I just want to
read
there are
JT's totalitarian regimes that do the totalitarian regimes that have done that and will do that and are doing that.
Yeah. Any little thing to spark it, they'll jump off to it because they can justify
straight on it.
They get more money, they get more power. Sorry.
No, you're fine, Kat. You're fine. I'm going to read this out. JT posted this a few minutes back, but I starred it to come back to it. He says, as someone who has an interest in history, propaganda is the deadliest weapon you can have.
Yes.
I mean, okay, a thermonuclear missile will make a dent, but you know what I mean? I get what you mean. I mean,
the issue we have now when it comes to propaganda is it's a bit harder to, well, it's quite harder to do because we now have TikTok and we have all the social media stuff. Then you can have that come through to your phone unfiltered at any time of day, live and all that sort of thing. So propaganda these days is very hard to do. Well, not very hard, but it's more of a challenge than it was 70, 80, 90 years ago.
You just have to look at a certain part and you're like, oh, they're authority and I should be
I'm going to bring this slide up again. If we look back to this, I know I brought this up for the flag, but this would you like to know more, which is a real catchline for this film. Now this, we don't know otherwise. This looks to be the internet, very much like we're getting that way, where all our entertainment is going to eventually end up on the internet. I mean, even moves in the UK this week say that we're not going to have traditional satellite in a few years' time. But look, Federal, Galaxy, Top News, Enlist, Extra. So this is the only. This would lead me to believe that the entertainment per se, the news, the stuff people see is all government controlled.
Yeah.
And if this is so to what Rob's saying, they've only got that, and if you've only got that, and you've got them in the schools and that, now this film, as I say, it's satire. Verhoeven was not pushing that this is a regime that he feels it. We know what satire is, and it surprises me still that anyone who watched this film, I'm not talking kids, I'm not talking 13-year-old me seeing boobies in the shower scene, right? I'm talking people, fully formed adults, who could watch this film, and if you apply your brain to it for just a minute, even if you don't see it at the time when you come out, I don't know about you. I know Rob does. I do. When I come out of a film, and I've been thinking of it. So we've been to cinema today. The film we've watched, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still processing it, and I will do for a couple of days. Yeah. So I don't know how anyone took this as serious as an actual. I don't get it.
People out there do, but there are people out there that will swallow that. And do take that, and unfortunately, we live in a society where people believe all that sort of thing. There's certain films that I just refuse to watch. I won't name them here because I will end up causing an argument. But there's certain films that I refuse to watch because I just think to myself, I like my films to have a bit more substance to them. I don't just like to look at a screen and just be sort of thumped with everything. So, hi, Martin.
Hi, Martin. Thanks for joining us. Another one of the he took part in. He was one of the walking crew. So good job. Yeah. But excuse me. Sorry, didn't mute myself then.
I think
no. Carry on, Kat.
I think sometimes, and this is just my personal observation. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I feel like in certain films, when people get that upset, I feel like they see themselves in it a little bit, you know what I mean? Because sometimes when we get defensive, it's because we're hitting the nail on the head, right? I feel like some of them are like because they're very gun-ho or very like that for their country stuff, that they take it personally when it's just a movie. It's okay. I mean, it does, as you get older and you watch it, it does have definite serious tones and you can see all that. But I think they just take it too seriously because
So if I'm going to jump back, sorry, Rob, say a bit.
No. I think the challenge we have here is that we are, to a degree, we're being tempered by what we can and can't say because of the channel that we're on and all that sort of thing. So we have, and plus, I don't want to offend anybody, but being an outsider, as Nick said, I go to the US quite frequently. And as an outsider going into the US, there are certain things that I see that are alien to me. And that's not a bad thing. That are, and likewise with Americans coming over here or into Europe as a general rule, you know, there are, because you're living in that society and it's up close to you, then if somebody says something political and you go, well, why'd you do that? You say, oh, we just do. The Pledge of Allegiance, right? Not to get too deep down this, Pledge of Allegiance, there are certain other countries that I think to myself, we don't do anything like the Pledge of Allegiance in our schools and places of work and stuff.
But
there are other countries
that does.
Well, North Korea, I'll say it as it is.
Oh,
North Korea do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the thing. I piss a lot of Americans off by saying, why'd you do that? It's the only other country that I'm aware of that does something like that is you have to pledge allegiance to the flag. And I'm like, that's to us as UK, as Europeans, that's so alien to us because I mean, we say God save the king and all that sort of stuff, but that's still, you know, some people still go against that. And you're not criticized for saying, I'm not, you know, when the Queen died, there were several soccer stadiums that played the national anthem, and and they were booed in certain parts of the country. And so we have that freedom of speech, but I just don't think some countries have as much freedom of speech as they think they do. And unfortunately, with the platform we're on, talking about this film as frankly as I'd like to, I'll find it quite limiting because I'm going to offend somebody, or Nick's going to get this wiped off.
It is limiting. So to climb it back into the film on the points you say, so I can connect what you've just said back to the film. Where's my note? I just had it there. Oh my goodness, Nick, you just had it. So the would you like to know more? The would you like to know more in the film? We're going back into the film now, right?
Yep.
Manipulation disguised as choice. Would you like to know more? You're making people. Would you like to? Not. We're going to tell you more. Feeds on the curiosity, but it makes you believe there's just. Someone once said to me years ago, when it comes to like jobs or whatever, going to jobs, and like, you know, people got all these crazy ideas and you sort of got to temper their expectations and keep them in the realm of what's actually achievable. They said to me, give them 3 choices of how you feel is best to do it. Because it's probably, you know, you're going to be happy to do any one of these 3 choices, but by giving them those 3 choices of the way that you feel this project can be done, you've given them the choice. And what you're doing is you're getting them to accept. It's not to manipulate them, but it's just because like otherwise people go, do you get what I mean? It's about keeping people's expectations real. And that thing there, it's like in the film, the would you like to know more? That just stood out at me, the whole would you like to know more? Very... Yeah. Do you see what I mean on that?
It's just further... No, it's just further driven of that control thing, and they make it appealing. That's all it is to me, is they have to go on a certain level of, okay, well, you do this. Of course you want to know more, because how can you benefit? This benefits you. This doesn't benefit us. This benefits you. This is how you can.
But what's failing from the film though is why? What, you know? Why are they decided to pick on the bugs?
I was just going to go there. So my next note here is the bugs. Right, I want to touch on that. And I've put a few points here. Humans are the invaders, from what I can see. There's nothing to suggest that the bugs just aimlessly decided to target the humans.
No.
It wasn't.
There's obviously something.
It was Carmen.
There's no evidence to show they're doing meteors. Yeah, there's no evidence to show that
Carmen's
they're throwing those meteors.
But the bugs are, in which case, the bugs are simply defending themselves. If they've got a brain bug, which and they're like a hive mind, and you notice the other thing is there. The bugs, they all work together. There's all different types of bugs. And I'll say that's one thing I will give this film for. In this film, everyone is pretty equal on a human level. You know, race, gender does not matter in this film. They're all equal in the
With the shower scene.
military side of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shower
That
scene
just shows. Even Diz playing in the football game with the guys, like kicking
she's
ass.
the quarterback.
Yeah, Diz kicking ass when she first comes up to the field and she transfers over. Very much like you're all equal here. So Verhoeven very much had that, but I make that point because the bugs are clearly working. There's all you can see all different species of bugs in the film, and bugs are bugs, but they're all different. We know how sort of evolution works.
Yeah,
and that's what gets me. The bugs are just working together with this hive mind. To me, the bugs are the victim of this film. Not the humans. The bugs are the victim of this film.
Yeah.
They're just trying to defend our home.
But and again, that goes back into political theory in the 1930s in the Central Europe, and people were just people just trying to defend themselves.
I always knew this one was going to be a spicy one.
Well, the thing is, right? So my parting thought. I'm conscious of the time, but I can't work out in my head if this is a good B movie or a bad A movie. Does that make sense? With the way in which the dialogue that's used, the themes that are used, and that sort of thing, is it a B movie that people have gone, this should be in theaters, or is it an A movie that is just trash? I can't work it out. That's why I like this film, because it likes to make me think.
I think it's I think Verhoeven went at that, but I think that's purposeful. It's an A movie in as much as budget and the people assigned to it, at least from a production level.
Yeah.
But when you look at the actors, what he went for, they were at that point, they would have been your typical B movie stars. And they were, because Denise Richards literally said in a couple of the panels, like, they asked him, why did you take the film? And she was like, because it was a job.
Right.
It was she was a jobbing actress, as pretty as she was and what she had. She still had to. There's so look at Hollywood. There's so many pretty women and there's so many handsome men out there. There's no shortage of them.
No.
So yeah, that's sort of I think Verhoeven wanted it to have that B movie feel. That's my thought on it.
And if that's the case, then he's done a standard job. He's done a really bang up job.
Yeah.
But I can't work it out what it's meant to be.
I mean, I don't recall him saying that was his intention anywhere. But
it's just my take.
Belief is that's what he's gone for.
Yeah.
It's my take. It's my thoughts on the film.
When I look at it, I feel like it's a B movie. It falls into the same categories of other movies that I like that are B movies. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything wrong. And I think now, after that, and we've seen that with other movies we've reviewed and stuff like that, is it didn't do great in the time, but now it's huge. Everybody knows who Starship Troopers are. And everybody that I've ever talked to, they're like, oh, we love it, So I think it's just taken a while for people to kind of get over certain things and not take it so personally.
But I think, if anything, as well, though, it's more pertinent now as well. With the themes of it, with what's going on around the world, I think it brings things to a more sort of recent level. It
goes to light of, again, either side has potential of becoming like this. Anybody could become like this. Anybody can do brainwashing. It's honestly not that hard to brainwash. You could brainwash somebody in like a few days. That's it. A matter of hours, you got somebody hooked. It's not that hard. So it has scary potential to it, if you think about it, but
that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Looking at so I'll read the comment out in case anyone's just listening. So Jester says a B movie categorized as an A movie in a sense of production. I completely agree with that. Right, now this is Real Impact. There's one last thing that we normally hit, so we've got a couple more minutes to go. I think we've got to mention the sequels. I have no intention on ever covering the sequels.
No, I won't be for that show.
So if I've missed any, I apologize, but I scoured the internet. I looked at what I could look up, right? There was a sequel to Starship Troopers in 2004, and it was called Hero of the Federation. I don't know a lot about it. I watched the thing on it, and it almost went almost horror movie. Like the bugs were infecting humans, almost like taking them over, from what I understand. All right, so could be wrong there, but that's what I can remember. But it was a lot of waffle. So what's the comment there? Kat said it's not hard to brainwash someone. I was skeptical, but now she's convinced me.
Told ya.
Fantastic. So there was that. It was actually praised for keeping the special effects pretty reasonable, considering it was direct. It was a direct to video sequel, because the film picked up after the main release and did well on video and then later DVD. So that's what they went for. They cheaped out on a few things, like the guns became like laser guns in this movie, because obviously firing the live shots. Because that, in interesting fact, someone that I've just remembered, apparently the amount of blank ammunition they spent in this film was just insane. It was just
not
mental.
surprising though.
Yeah.
Not
surprising at all.
I might have a little gander at this sequel, just to see what they're doing with it. If they are going for the B movie side of things, or if they are trying to run with the theories.
So
from what I could see,
have you
it was
seen
very much so.
Do you remember
Carry
the
on, Kat.
trailers for it?
No, I've not seen. I
Okay,
genuinely haven't seen anything other than the original.
All you need to do is just go, like, YouTube the trailers.
Okay.
And that's going to be like, okay, so I don't think Rico's in the second one, but I know for sure he's in the third one.
Okay.
But just watch the trailers, and you're going to be like, I don't know if I want to waste my time watching those.
Right. Okay.
Especially the second. So here, it's also kind of the thing, like, the sequel's horrible, but then the third movie's pretty good. So I also think I kind of get that vibe where I think 3 did a little bit better. But I don't know.
Well, there's a potential reason. I'm just going to read Donnie's comment. It was bad that a character who died in Starship Troopers was brought back as another totally different character in Starship Troopers 2. And I believe that was Denise Richards. I keep wanting to say Denise Van Elton, completely different person. Denise Richards, the flight commanding lady, the lady who got crushed. She,
her.
I did. Yeah, she got brought back as a completely different character. But then, different films, but from Dusk Till Dawn, I mean, Danny Trejo's character died in the first From Dusk Till Dawn, spoiler alert, and he was in the second one, which was set after. You can forgive it in the third one, it was a prequel, but anyway, this seems to be a thing they do to bring a bit of familiarity. There was also Starship Troopers 3, which was called Starship Troopers 3 Marauder. Casper Van Dien returned. Apparently, the special effects took a real nosedive and were worse than the second movie, but they did get back to live firing guns again. I can't. There's a lot of themes, and from what I can remember, what I watched about it, there were a lot of themes about religion coming in this film and how they were trying to push it out and it conflicting with. Could be wrong. But that's what I picked up from the YouTube video I watched it, because I wanted to have a rough idea. Again, released straight to video, written and directed by Edward Numia. Casper Van Dien returned to play an older Johnny Rico. And there's also 2012, there was Starship Troopers Invasion, which was an animated movie. It was CG. It was Japanese production. I know very little about it, but from what I understand is the visuals are a lot closer to what was described in the book that the film's based on. So not really connected to these. And Starship Troopers Traitor of Mars 2017 CG animated sequel. Casper Van Dien and Dina Meyer returned to voice the original characters. And I know that Diz, from what I understand on that, it was a flashback scene. So that there is a connection there. And there was also there was a TV series, and I believe it was called Roughneck Starship Troopers Chronicles in 1999. CG animated television series, ran for 1 season, but did get a strong cult following. And I think that was more aimed towards children. So a lot, obviously not the thing. So that's
again, I mean, with those sorts of things, and there's a few cartoons like that. Why would you? RoboCop was the same. Why would you have something that glorifies violence and to a minor degree, well, no, it doesn't. Sex isn't really involved in it. Sex is another side issue. But why would you have a cartoon that glorifies violence, but then sell it to kids? Because that would encourage them to
Rambo
watch
did the same thing with
Rambo
Joe?
Freedom or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
everything
just
we
don't
had
get.
was violence, so.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
because there's a lot of shows that I'm like, oh my gosh, this was my childhood. And I try to show my kid, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to turn this off. Like it's horrible, but I don't remember those parts it being horrible. I remember the not so bad, but you know what I mean? Because as a kid, you're not focusing on that part of it. You're just
But
thinking,
if I,
oh, it's
what I'm saying
action
is,
and sad.
if I see the animated
Oh crap! Hold on.
series, I'm going to
There's
want to
someone here.
see. I'm going to want to see where that has come from. I'm going to see. I'm going to see its origins to it. So I don't get it.
Yeah. I'm just going to jump in some of the comments because Kat's just popped off. So we'll give her a moment to return. As Donnie said there, yep, you're right. Starship Troop. He says Starship Troop. I say you're right. I haven't seen it, but Starship ST3 was better because Rico was back. But anything was better than 2. I have to take your word for it, Donnie. Because like the other night when we were speaking, I've having just watched the trailers on these and like documentaries about the sequels, I have no pull to want to watch them. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I sort of know all I need to know about them because it told me what I need to know. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe if I can find them somewhere I can watch them, and I've got a spare evening, I'll stick them both on. Albert says, "Would you like to know more? Certainly propaganda, but also provides a false sense of free will and vesting." Yeah, I would agree with that completely. So, Vepit Gaming, good to see you. First movie is legendary. I really do enjoy the first movie. Donnie saying Starship Troopers had a PC game recently, not too bad. And what's Excelsior saying? There were several campaigns in Roughnecks, but it might have been one season. Yes, it included another alien race too. Yeah, and I believe that alien race it included was also were a race that were in the original book from the source material. So it's sort of getting there. And Kat won't mind me carrying on with this. There is apparently in production now. Sony is currently developing a big screen Starship Troopers reboot directed by Neil Blomkamp, which will draw inspiration directly from the 1959 original novel rather than being a remake of the 1997 movie. So I think that would be, I'd be interested to watch that, Rob. Would you be keen to watch that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I liked District 9 and the themes in that as well. So I think you could probably take the themes forward. That would be quite an interesting one to see, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Kat to get back, is there anything else you any sort of parting thoughts you would have on this?
None that I've not already covered. No, I mean, like I say, it's a film that has different levels, and you can go along and you can be like a meathead jock sort of thing and enjoy it for the guns and the boobs and the shooting the aliens and stuff like that. And it's aimed for you in that. But then you can also enjoy it on the level that we've discussed this evening. So, you know, there are hidden things to it. If you know your history, if you know your geopolitics, then there are opportunities for you to sort of delve a bit deeper in there. I can't imagine that the sequels would have that sort of level of depth in them. But it's interesting to, like I say, to pose the question, what sort of movie is it aiming to be? It's clearly meant to be a satire. But is it going to be an A film that's really done badly, or a B film that's a B movie that's done well? I tend to side on the fact it's a B movie that's done well. And again, I think the budget that you've spoken about, the budget has got to have gone on the CGI because it would have.
Well, just look. I mean, even just looking at the set, even looking at the set pieces, mate. I mean, it's. I know it's barren desert land, but that all costs money. That. It was a good set design. I mean, looking past what you discussed earlier with the bad space scenes when they're filming the space scenes, but I think a lot of effort was put in it to make it look the part, to make it look good. And we may, I'm not sure if Kat's going to make it back for the end of the stream because we really are quite near the end now. But what I still like about Starship Troopers, and you've pretty much alluded to this, Rob, is take it for what you want to take for it. It can be, you know, 2 hours of just kick-ass blowing bugs and shit up and boobies and action and fun. Or you can really do a bit of what we've done tonight. And yes, we were limited, as you said, given the platform that we're on, with some of the things that we would say. But you can really, there's a lot you can take from this. You can certainly ponder it and draw your own conclusions. But I think it's a film that if you're that sort of analytical person who likes to look into movies and their meaning in that, there's a lot there to decipher. And I still think to this day, even 29 years on, and despite the fact many people have had discussions similar to what we've had tonight, I still think people coming along, even 10 years from now, I think people may even look at it differently again.
Yeah.
Because
the world's changing as we speak. So there could be additions in the nuances in which it sort of depicts. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So I would say I enjoy this film. Rob, is it fair to say that you sort of said honest view on it before we go? Where does this sit? Is this a film you enjoy?
I'm on the fence with it. Oh, Cat's back.
Sorry, crazy people.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, I'm on the fence with it myself. It's like I say, it wasn't a film I rushed to the movie theater to see. But then it's not a film that that wouldn't appeal to me, because I would have been sold on it looks like Aliens. But of that time that it came out, like I said earlier, Event Horizon was on my radar as opposed to this film if I wanted my sci-fi space fix, and Alien Resurrection as well. It came out around the same time as that too. So there's plenty of other alien films out there, or space films. So,
and was it made? Is it a coincidence? I mean, we don't want to go too deep. We're at the end now, but there was at that point in '97. I remember it. Aliens was a big thing again. I'm not talking the films, but Alien. The whole Alien thing was very
Men in
popular.
Black, Independence Day, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
it was all that sort of time.
Area 51, Roswell.
Yeah,
I remember at that time.
Thing.
Yeah, having posters in my room of aliens and.
Yeah,
and I think we did cover this when we did Men in Black, didn't we, Kat? There was just that period of time where people were obsessed with aliens and UFOs. And
you know how many alien rings I had that were like mood rings for the eyes and stuff like that, or you having aliens on the poster for the black light. I mean, it was everywhere.
It may have even come from the popularity of the X-Files at that time as well. You see.
And do you know what? You make a bloody good point there. I hadn't even thought that, because people were, although X-Files was based on Earth, it was covering that. It was covering the UFO. It had people. It was in the zeitgeist of the time, wasn't it? It was there. It was. I miss the 90s, but that's a stream for another day. Kat, I think we've wrapped this up. Unless there's anything you want to add.
No, just Carmen is trash. She's
Carmen's trash.
And she caused it all. That's what I have to. That's what I just have to say. She's trash and she caused all of it. That's it.
Kat, thank you for joining us this evening. Promote yourself. Yep, you can promote yourself. You're muted.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you, unfortunately, mate. Well, anyway, I'm going to promote Kat for her. Kat does regular puzzle streams on her channel, Only VadersGirl. Sorry, I was saying to you, Kat, promote yourself, because I was like, what's going on here? She does regular puzzle streams. People can go on, they can join her building puzzles. Her channel is called Only VadersGirl. She is linked in the description of this video, so do check her out. Do give her a follow. Rob, is there anything you want to for yourself?
No, there's nothing. I regularly appear on Shabby's quiz night and do mediocre. But other than that, no. And I'll be here with you at some point in the near future again, no doubt. You will be. And for myself, look, if you've enjoyed this and you're not subscribed and you want to give us a little sub, you can do that. I wouldn't mind it. Like this if you have enjoyed it. Thank you everyone in the discussion this evening in the chat. I've
read all the comments. You're great. Sorry for those that didn't get brought up and whatnot, but there was so much to discuss tonight. It would almost be impossible to read every comment, but you're great as always. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nick APD. He is Rob Opper. That is Cat Only VadersGirl, whichever way I'm pointing. Thank you so much again. I'm thanking you all because I'm trying to find my outro slide.
Just quickly, another well done to everybody that did the walk as well. Another really well done.
A massive well done to all those people. You've all been great, and I will be back, I believe, on the 11th of next month with Des T to discuss his movie pick on Real Impact. So we're getting more regular, and me and Monkey Boy are working on another episode of Live and Moderately Entertaining, because like the world needs more of that chaos. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great one. See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.